I know this game usually has a pretty big sense of humor, but this is still a Fate series. And we know how bad the dark plot this series offers. Yep, we will be looking at some nightmare fuel moments in FGO. Let's get right into it. The world is gone. The fact that the FGO story begins because the world no longer exists is extremely disturbing to remember. The world is freaking gone. Chaldea is the only place and time where any living beings remain. Anything outside of it has been burned to a crisp. Actually, let's correct that. It's not just everywhere, it's everywhen, since the past has also been incinerated. Can you imagine that? The entirety of mankind dead, a literally uncountable number of people, since the very dawn of history, dead. But Chaldea still has to bear the burden of saving the world. Indeed, the world was almost doomed, the world was almost annihilated, and even almost all the staff in Chaldea were injured, comatose, or dead. But they are still fighting, relying only on the hope that humanity still wants to live. Heh, for a nightmare fuel moment, that one at the end seems pretty hopeful, huh? Yep, for the next, it won't be like that. Dreadful scream for help. Remember her? Olga Marie Animosphere. She was a tough-tempered person who was firm in front of her subordinates. After Chaldea experienced an explosion due to the actions of someone in a villain costume, seriously, this guy has spikes on his tie and no one suspects it. Olga Marie was transported by ray shift to Fuyuki with Fujimaru and Mash. During the trip, the three of them developed a close relationship. Because this director is very difficult to get along with. When they finished defeating the enemy in the Singularity, Lev Laner suddenly made an appearance. While announcing his evil plan, he then informed that director Olga Marie was actually dead.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
The only reason she was alive now was because she had no body and went through the ray shift process. When she returns, there will be nothing left of her. Hearing this, of course, Olga Marie cried and was frightened. Lev then lifted Olga Marie's body and threw her slowly to Chaldeus. I don't really know what Chaldeus is made of, but Lev said that Chaldeus isn't too different from a black hole or maybe the sun, and this guy just threw a woman into it. The OVA gives us the glorious image of Olga Marie being thrown into Chaldeus, screaming and begging for someone to save her with tears in her eyes. Just listen. Not really him. This person. Nope, not his design or abilities. It's the story behind this person. Lev Laner Flaros. The first bad guy we meet in the game. According to Clock Tower 2015, Lev died by suicide. His suicide scene looks like a murder. Apparently, Lev killed himself because he was about to be possessed by the demon god Flaros, with the aim that he can infiltrate Chaldea and carry out Goetia's plan. With Lev killed, the plan to burn humanity failed in Lev's hands. However, this did not happen in the FGO timeline. Lev tried to pull the same stunt, but this time he failed. So who we're dealing with isn't even Lev anymore. It's the demon pillar using his body as a meat puppet. Well, it's not that I care or anything. It's just that knowing that this guy used to be a human who actually cared about the future, it really makes me sick to my stomach. Consult with Who Was That? In the beginning of Babylonia's story, Mash is visited by Dr. Roman, who's trying to sympathize with what's left of the human race. Since Dr. Roman was Mash's personal psychiatrist, it was nothing new for her to have regular consultations. Only, this time, he was a little different. He started saying that life has no meaning and that humanity should stop struggling and live the rest of its life in peace. According to Mash, the voice, posture, face, and everything was the same. It was Dr. Roman. However, the content of the words was completely opposite to what Dr. Roman usually said. Mash mistakenly believes it's the real Roman at first, after Mash says that the person in front of him is not Dr. Roman. This being soon begins laughing with a horrific smile on his face. This is legit the picture they showed. Lahmu! Okay, you have to agree, this creature really makes us feel uncomfortable and continues to linger in our dreams. Whenever this creature appears, there are feelings that make my hair stand up. Discomfort, fear, anger, and more. Their enormous, sideways, human-shaped mouths, the lack of eyes, the constant twitching as they wait for you to attack, and the disturbing ways their bodies contort. Not to mention the fact that they come in endless droves and some of them are actually Uruk citizens forcibly transformed into demons. Some are implied to be people you've met who still seem to have human consciousness and remember who you are. I'm sure those of you who have watched or read that part, there is a sense of anger or goosebumps in your body. Sword Master of the Dead. After we solve the problem at the singularities, we have to solve some remnant singularities. One of them is Shamusa. Instead of ray shift, we actually transferred to Shamusa in a state of coma. Mash can't accompany us, and we have trouble using our summoning power at first. Luckily, there was Musashi who happened to be drifting there. The premise of Shamusa is truly horrifying because of the enemy servants. They are actually not servants at all, but historical figures resurrected by Ashiya Doman and turned into crazed, omnicidal maniac zombies that slaughter many innocent people in a very bloody and cruel way. At one point, you'll be fighting one of the enemy servants atop a mountain of freshly mutilated corpses. To highlight just how inhuman the zombified servants have become, their fight dialogue is completely replaced by barely coherent roars and screams, and instead of fading into golden dust, their death animations are much more visceral. One of the most chilling aspects is that, with the exception of Amakusa and Doman, all of the enemy servants are completely aware of themselves, but completely powerless to resist Doman's corruption, which forces them to go on a rampage. At some point, they will beg desperately for you to kill them while crying tears of joy. How does that make you feel? What other moments do you think I should include in this category? Put them in the comments section. I'd love to know too. I wanted to keep this video fresh and not too long, so it wouldn't feel boring. So I'm planning to make Nightmare Fuel Moments Part 2, because this game has quite a lot of disturbing areas, especially after we get to Lostbelt. Oh, don't forget to subscribe to help this channel.